You need to jump on to see.
We don't have. All right, chair.
What's that?
Chair.
Okay, so let's get this thing started. We applied for VDOM grant. Sad news is we did it at short notice and we couldn't get Almar County to sign off at their, was it finance committee?
Yeah, so VDM, there was an oversight. You need to use for specifically this VDM grant for this for not this facilities grant, for the what's the full name for it, Jack?
The
It's not
2020
material.
Homeland Security thing.
That's what it is. You need a county to be a fiduciary agent. So different from like the USDA facilities grant where we can be a town. So we learned about that like a week and a half ago. It was gonna be a solid grant. Long story short, we're gonna mothball that sucker and then try next year. Brainstorm having you here. Most of it is to address some levy needs. Also try to offset some of what we already have budgeted and see, it's always nicer when the state pays for something. We have a whole year. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to see if we could have a conversation with you guys and see if there's anything. It's from 10,000 to 250,000.
Okay.
We were sitting at 177 on the description we have. But we got a whole year. Essentially I called Fluvana. Fluvana's assistant said yes. And then once they talked to the lawyers, they said, let's hold tight on it. Albemarle, I'm gonna talk with them in a few weeks and talk to their grant coordinator and see what relationship I can kind of build with them down the road for anything that we need a fiduciary agent with. So since I got you in the room, it wouldn't hurt just to kind of build that relationship or be a bridge. But most of it was to set up CERT, offset the dam, do some security, update the fence around the levee. It's a good grant. It shouldn't change in a year. It's kind of a shame. Eileen worked on it a whole bunch. But there's going to be no issue updating the dates on it and then moving forward into next year. So you're the guys first to hear. County's super bureaucratic. So they told me that there was not even a chance. I called in all my 4 favors that I barely had in the last year. But yeah, so
How would this grant adversely affect Albemarle and Savannah? Okay,
yeah.
so it should be a done deal.
Yeah, so so Flavanna was much more open to, they even said, well, we got 20 residents, but let's start doing something for our 20 residents. Not in that way, but like, hey,
Yeah.
let's add to it. From what Greg told me when we were chit chatting, because we called the deputy administrator, called Mike. I did all the moves to try to get it in. They used to be much more streamlined, but now they're bureaucratic. They have their team of attorneys and then they have a grant manager across all the counties. And even if you were trying to get the board on a supervisor on board, or even got something verbally from the county, because the other thing I said, it's like, what about figuring out the fiduciary responsibilities? Because what we're working on, there's no doubt we'll follow up on it. It's not, it's not something that's going into the middle of nowhere, and it's not a bridge to nowhere. It's the budget. So to your point, Eddie, the only thing I can think of is that in a few weeks, I'm going to meet with them. And then from the offset, tell them, hey, we're looking at something that help you. If anything, it'd take a burden off of them, because it's all CERT, local dam maintenance, increasing continuity in services. So we even thought about putting a generator and updating here. So if anybody needed to operate out of Victory Hall, we could use it as a space.
So this is over and above, the 17,000 that Albemarle allots toward projects of this type.
Yeah.
Per annum.
Yeah. So it would have been with VDEM. So
But Albemarle County does donate 17,000 a year for
Mhm.
all this stuff. This is needed and we need it.
Man, so all I can think of, and I was gonna report to you guys in a few weeks, was like, hey, can we keep this on the back burner and then try right again this time next year? Cause the grant's not gonna change.
Yeah.
You look at 23 to 24, VDEM doesn't change. If anything, we just fine tune a little bit.
Send it all.
Yeah, and then just get, the real clincher is you have to get them, they get into that whole liability thing where it's like, God forbid you guys do something, but it's like, it's all above board and it's the state, like,
So has the application, period for this grant expired?
yeah, it was last Friday.
It was whatever the 19th was.
Yeah.
So, but we have everything
Yeah.
ran up, so all we do is copy and paste
Okay.
for next year.
So Albemarle County just pigeonholed it for another year.
We should have reached out earlier, but yeah,
There's a miscommunication, I think, right?
we didn't catch it
Yeah,
between Greg,
Me.
me and Eileen and you.
yeah.
And then when I started talking to VDEM and checking in on language on it, I was like, do we have all our requirements? They're like, there's state code that says we have to go through them. And then Fluvanna, I think if we had a few more weeks, 2 more weeks, I think it would have taken months without tomorrow. Fluvanna, maybe you could have done it in a month. I think so, because they're much more, I don't know,
So should we
less cumbersome.
go ahead and use Savannah next year?
I don't
Well,
know.
every year you want a grant.
know.
Undoubtedly.
I'll talk with their grant administrator and feel it out, but that's neither here nor there until next month.
So E911 sign inventory, I want to see if we could use certain numbers to do all the inventory of what building has no address and what has address.
Mhm.
That'd be the efficient way of doing the entire Scottsville. If we do want to expand, we could knock out the entire town limits that way.
So maybe we take a step back, cause.
Yeah, I just want to bring it up. It's like we're in standstill.
Yeah, but no, I want to take a step back because want to make sure Tim's filled in with everything because Eddie was at the meeting, so he's as plugged in as everyone else. So we left the E911. So the high points is the project was scoped at 8,000. Bama Works provided 5,000, right, Jack?
Yes.
So there was, and please help me, Eddie, from last week. There was discussion about, or last 2 weeks, there's discussion about the E911 grant and how to implement it. What I heard coming out was we scoped 8,000, we only have 5,000. I think something, now gonna editorialize, I think doing the downtown first makes sense. And then that's within scope. It would probably fit dollar amounts, but I've sensed a lot from council concerns about enforcement, concerns about implementation. And I think enforcement more on principle of how do you want to enforce something this, and implementation just more practicality, how are you gonna get it done? I think I was talking with Jack earlier today. I think doing any sign inventory just because you're touching other people's property, I'd rather have staff, especially if council says, hey, it's a priority. It just leads to less of a headache. I don't really want a volunteer to be in like a point where they're like, people get touchy and it's better when it's a staff member and you're kind of putting a volunteer in a rough spot there. So, I mean, that's 2 cents there. Nothing has to come out of it, but my practical sense with that, I think. I think the big sticking point is maybe on what council would feel comfortable with around the ordinance and enforcement. And I've talked to you where I'm kind of trying to getting a feel for the fire department on what you would see as like what would work. And from what Eileen and from you at What Expresses. Get in here. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
good, get in here.
Well, here's the way and I've been involved with this 11 thing since the beginning.
We'll sit down.
And with my background, I've got little bit of insight.
Mhm.
But the main objective is for fire, police, and rescue to be able to identify the individual properties.
We just started.
And there are some that think that a uniformity of signage, would, make that happen. Personally, I don't believe, our little government should mandate signage to individual properties. But we could have an ordinance that, that says, no matter how you want to do it,
Hmm.
If it's 3 numbers screwed into a column, which we might have, and we still have in Scottsville. As long as the personnel that are responding to emergency situations can identify their property, fine. We don't need a grant to buy a bunch of blue and white signs, or brown and white, or green and white, and all of this, because I think it's clutter. It detracts away from, are you looking at a building, or are you looking at a 174? What is this? I just can't see it. And as far as the multiple use properties, I think the town could address those landlords and say, you have multiple use properties, please identify these properties. So, EMS, fire, police can identify them. That will decrease a whole lot of signage, if you will. I know, and Eileen's not here to defend herself, but she keeps throwing up Buckingham County as an example of how the county went in and mandated signage for every house and every address, and everything is hunky-dory, and it is not. I drive through Buckingham and Appomattox County every 2 weeks. The only address that I see on any building in Buckingham Courthouse, which is not a town, by the way, is their signage that identifies their property. The rest of the properties, there are no address signs, none.
Mhm.
And they've got historical buildings there too. But she keeps bringing this up as an example. And number one, I don't know when they initiated this project in Buckingham, but it's been a while. The signs are missing, in ill repair, knocked over. They're not well kept. And I don't know who's enforcing it, because you can have one house right here and the 2 houses on either side of it have no signage. So her Buckingham County, as an example, is out the door. I mean, really. And, all you got, I'm not even getting off the beaten path. I'm just driving 15 and 60, So that's what you see over there. Undoubtedly, it was a big deal at one time, and all of a sudden, okay, we got GPS now,
Mhm.
So I can't see a uniform signage ordinance. And I think any signage ordinance should be, voluntary.
Mhm.
And these people are not going to want to detract away from their property. They're going to try to make it look, as good as they can, I think.
Yeah.
And as long as fire's happy with it, police and rescue, leave it.
Mhm.
But we do have more rural areas, as you go out and down the outskirts of Scottsville,
Mhm.
that these blue and white reflective signs would be beneficial.
Mhm.
Leave it up to the landowners and tell them we can help finance this, if you will.
Mhm.
And then if we don't use all the money, send it back.
Can I Go ahead.
address.
I want on too. Wholeheartedly disagree. The ability to see a reflective sign knocks off time. The quicker I see the address, the quicker I know where I'm at. Mandating, saying that they have to do it, I don't think you're gonna, you probably won't get that. I doubt the council would even consider it on that.
Right.
But I think saying that the sign should be whatever, it's historic, so if you wanna make it brown, I don't care what color it is. As long as every place down here, it's in the same location and I know where to look on the building for the address. Searching for gas leaks and addresses in the middle of the night, even in the daytime, down here and around the town is time consuming. And to have those, a uniform sign in a uniform location, saves time for us, PD and EMS. And we would love to see it happen.
So how long have you been in emergency service?
30 years.
Yep. I've been in just a little bit longer. Plus,
You've been out of it a long time too.
just 5 or 6 years. I know challenges because I work nights. You know, I don't want a blue sign stuck across the street.
Make it green, make it brown, I don't care what you make it, just make it. sign
Make
on the
it
building.
visible
It's
from
gotta-
reflective.
Make it visible
Stop
from
it.
the highway.
Mhm.
You know, I've seen every kind of mailbox you can see. And I always draw attention to the Midway or whatever, the Heritage Market, when you go around that curve to Charlottesville, when they got 25 boxes out there. How in the world does EMS answer a call down there when it's supposedly 25 houses? I sympathize with them. But we've got so much signage and clutter. And all you have to do is just identify it from the street. So let the fire, police, rescue go out, identify these problem areas, address the landowners. And say, we've got to do something about this. We don't need a reflective sign stuck, you know, on every building up and down Valley and Main Street. That's just the way I see it, and I've got as much time in it as you have. And I was dealing with people with lives on the line too, so.
It's all a matter of getting there and as quick as we can get there, so.
Well,
If
that's
you guys
right.
are good with it not being that way, then it's cool with us.
Well, can I address Buckingham? I kind of differ with you on that. I mean, Buckingham, they identified once you're down the driveway at the houses, they did it well. And they continue to do it well. They have a person that if you call in and say, my sign was knocked over, whatever, they come out and put it back up within a week. They do. What I don't think was done quite right, maybe I'm wrong, was at the end of the road. Like you say, you're driving down the road, you don't see all this stuff. I agree, you don't see it on the highway. Maybe you can tell me personally. I think at the end of the road is lacking
Yeah.
at the
In
houses
some places
themselves.
It is.
Right, at the houses themselves, it's identified pretty darn well. And even at our multi-use built, apartment building. It's identified and the post office coordinated with us and we went that number and then ABCD. And it's known that way and identified that way. But mandate, I agree, it ain't gonna happen. Shouldn't happen. We shouldn't stuff anything down anybody's throat. Now,
Yeah.
should we?
Which brings us back to the ordinance that's been proposed.
Well, I think there need to be some alterations.
Yeah.
Okay, however, I would love to see some improved consistent signage throughout the town that is reflective and that is a step in the right direction. Might not be the end of the world, but it'd be
Step in the right direction.
a step in the right direction. And I spoke with Javier earlier today. And I think personally, I don't think a volunteer effort's gonna be putting up signs on these brick buildings downtown. I think somebody's gonna have a cow.
They'd rather jam
Do
deals
I
up.
think and I even mentioned your name, so I'll go ahead and say I did. you and Tim and Sid Pugh, if you walked into businesses and said, we'd like to do something, we recommend a spot for you? I think a lot of people would buy into it. Because the fire department did that much. Now, that's a volunteer effort to do that. But I think the businesses and the residents of Scottsville trust you guys with implicitly. Just do. And I think that would go a long ways toward, I guess you'd say endorsing it in a way. You know, we don't have the rescue squad team members to be able to do that anymore, unfortunately. But
You can ask.
I just think that would go a long way. Now, I don't know if green or blue or whatever. Brown could be, in a historic area. I've seen that sometimes, but reflective nonetheless, and the consistent size. And no disrespect, but not a number purchased and stuck on from Paulette's.
Right.
It doesn't stay. It doesn't stay. It doesn't look good. It doesn't help anybody. So that's.
But the main thing is to make sure that emergency people can reach the dwelling or the
As
business.
quickly as humanly possible.
And I don't think we want to detract away.
I don't think
know,
we want to track. And I
you know,
don't think
with-
we want
with
to
the
mandate.
overabundance of uniform signage.
Right.
You think, I'll give you an example. These Buckingham County signs, have you noticed they're all out in the grass? They're not mounted to the buildings.
No, they're not.
They're all
They're mounted-
in the
They're
lawn in
mounted
front.
in my situation.
Well, how much lawn have we got down Valley Street? We have none.
Right, that's why we have to,
Mount to the building.
we mount to the building
That's
down
right,
here. We
yeah.
have to.
Then you
Now,
come-
whether we do the right side of the door, okay, Kimberly has 2 doors, so
Yeah.
whatever, but.
But
you know.
you come back to property rights there,
And we can't mandate it.
I don't
But we
think
can-
we can.
I don't
think
think
it's
we
gotta
can,
be
I don't think so
volunteer.
either. I think it has to be
I
voluntary.
mean, if a property owner is responsible to the adjacent property owners. And if he doesn't maintain his property, it could jeopardize the viability of the adjacent.
I think there might be
properties.
something in the books about house
Well,
numbers.
Yeah, we've got it
There
there.
is something there. So
With-
let's
with
just
the-
say we're trying to make it consistent for the soft sell, if you will.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we do have simple, just you need an address.
So I recognize that there are at least several businesses down here. One of them's about to have no address market whatsoever.
Right,
So
They need to
then,
have one.
but I think
then like,
there is, okay,
You saw-
zoning wise, they're in violation,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now you
but. No, it's facts.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
oh no, I said then you
Yeah.
stop selling me,
But
say I got a
then,
sign.
let's just off some, the town has these signs available, we'd be glad to furnish them. And would like to suggest, and with your blessing, mount them right here.
yeah, I can
Yeah,
agree with that.
I agree. The town should
So-
say, this is where we want it.
And we have the signs available.
The
and then
signs
this
are
is-
here. If you wanna put one
And-
on it, you can put your sign up. This is where it's gotta go. If you want a group to put them up, I'll see if we can get guys from the fire department,
Yeah,
whatever. And then we start that way. Peer pressure is the way to go. Once people start seeing it, oh, hey, that's not actually that bad.
right, and I think we can identify some people to get them up
Yep.
quickly for that.
Because the one thing you said was important, it's like uniformity for you guys, even if it's
So I know exactly. on
Same,
every
same
building where it
size,
goes.
same
All-
reflectivity,
not everybody.
same background if we can.
Yeah.
Now, whether the residences
Have.
have a different color than downtown, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I do agree that in the more rural parts of Scottsville,
Uh-huh.
you know, I mean, going up Dunham, going up, you know, the
Yeah.
hill here. It's the same way it's been for years and years out there. It's a rural type community. Yeah, this signage needs to be placed right at the end of the driveway.
That's the missing element in Buckingham.
Yeah,
I have a street sign that really kind of identifies everything. However, it doesn't say 411 and 263 and 291. It doesn't say that at the end, and I think it probably should.
so Buckingham
Now,
County.
you
is-
put it
is
at the
just-
bottom of the mail post or something, I don't know.
It's just not a good example, and that's, you know,
Yeah,
what's been happening, you know.
The houses and the fact that they had a paid person to take care of getting those signs back up, that's a good thing. But the other part of it,
But I
we
think
can't force anybody.
I think I described it pretty accurately. I think I did.
Yeah, I'm not, we're not in disagreement.
Oh, no.
But mandate, no.
No,
Scottsville already gets laughed at enough.
Yeah.
yeah,
So like,
We have enough crazy stuff.
And I don't see where see it's an issue, I mean.
It shouldn't
As
be.
many times as people have asked to put stuff up and the town has said, no, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Now you're doing something to help them get fire
Mhm.
rescue and police to them quicker.
I'm paying for
We're
it.
trying to help you get seen and identified quicker. I don't see where it's an issue, but
then Jack mentioned to me earlier, you said that Fluvanna
Savannah, but I looked up, I
Yeah.
googled this like deeply, there are no ordinance in Savannah, Buckton whatsoever,
for like E911.
for E911 signs.
Okay,
Nor of them all.
No, I'm all right.
I'm not doing that.
They're the furthest behind.
Yeah,
so we aren't,
we're.
The redhead.
So
we're in
you're actually leading the way for the county. Maybe they'll have an example here for once.
But I did look up, that East, Crozet in Earlysville offers it for $20 for a fundraiser for the department. I think we should do something like that. That they want them,
Fluvanna had a mandate,
yeah.
but they made them do it.
There's
All
nothing in
residents
there-
had to put it out.
Nothing in the law.
so how'd that work out?
Why do you think you need to charge them?
About 95%.
Fundraisers to get money
Well,
in.
that's good,
But why do you think?
Now,
No,
Fluvanna's really
I think-
good.
but it's a
We crossed
rural county.
Fundraiser.
You gotta.
Yeah, I don't know
yeah,
about
yeah.
this, like Palmyra
Fundraiser
and
Yeah.
for this.
in that, because we don't go
We-
there, but the area that we serve out through Fluvanna County,
Right,
we know at the end of the driveway, there's a blue marker.
And
I don't
that's a
think,
good
I don't
thing.
think we need to
95%.
fundraise.
And that's what I'm pushing for, to get the rural areas or the quasi-rural
Yeah.
identified.
No, Jack, I don't think we need to fundraise for this because we're trying to say the town is willing to provide and help. And if we try to tack on money to it, I'd much rather go beg 20th Century Merchants Fund or Charlottesville Community Foundation for some more money before I did that.
We have
5,000.
550 residents in Scottsville.
Mhm.
We have less dwellings and businesses. What would you say, George? Maybe all total 300 dwellings and businesses
I think
within
the
the
number's less
town?
than that.
Okay. So
250,000.
we got $5,000
When
to
we're
work
talking about
with.
taxing
We
everybody.
could
it was
give
250,000.
everybody one for free.
Yeah.
You know,
So she sent me a message this last night around 9:14 stating that there would be no need for fines. There will only be for the new development subdivision going up on Bird Street and
Okay, that's in your,
Blenheim.
that's when you're giving your special use or whatever else. That comes in that territory.
and then when
That's a
you
good
get
point.
involved with the homeowners association and you want to dictate to them
Yeah.
Good luck.
what, yeah, right.
But before they get the permit, you have all the rights. After that, you have none.
We have none now.
Nothing.
We have nothing in Bird Street now. It's their baby.
Because it's already.
They could put it up in Arabic if they wanted to. I mean,
But I imagine we could get them to do it
I
properly.
don't see why.
yeah.
I think common sense person could talk to them as they build and do that. And the town, give them the damn number.
Really.
Hell, that's okay. Put something up there. Who
Like I
cares?
said, I don't-
It'll
Like you say,
it'll all go in a mailbox and it'll
No,
it'll all go on the
they need to
street.
satisfy all the postal and that's not to be said.
Well, no,
They need to satisfy all the postal regulations independently.
I've dealt with HOAs before and I've had a mailbox out there and they came out one night and took my mailbox down and put up a plastic one. I had a nice metal one. And everybody did. They just arbitrarily said, okay, we're coming in, we're gonna change them all. And that's what they did because they got the homeowners
I've had my
association.
feuds with the post office up here.
And they are a little governmental organization unto themselves. They have a special use permit now, Katie bar the door, you know. So, yeah, you won't see a blue sign up there, I'll tell you. I'll guarantee you.
One,
Last time I told him, I said, I dare you to touch it. I did. In public, with witnesses.
And the result, they didn't.
They haven't touched it, and they still deliver. After whatever, 40 years of delivering, they said I was the wrong height and wrong angle to the road and all this stuff.
Well, as a committee, let me just recommend that we go back, and talk about this one more time. And as far as the ordinance goes, which is up, for grabs,
Mhm.
I think we need some changes there. Maybe just an add-on to the existing ordinance we have. But,
I think the problem you're up against right today is the grant deadline to apply is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this one has been applied.
Yeah, this one we haven't
Okay.
checked, it's in
Okay,
office.
no.
yeah,
The only nuance I have is that it's not clear to me how much they're invested in the ordinance. My gut feeling is that really what Bamworks is invested in is make sure you buy the signs and increase safety by having.
Like I told you earlier, it is an accounting issue. They want to see you paid this and you spent that. And you
Well,
didn't solve.
Maybe I
pay
caught.
for
and the ordinances that were in effect at the time the grant was delivered should be in effect now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't change it.
it. That's right. Now, you can't go retrospectively.
Yeah.
So maybe I just talk to them and double check on that.
I can send you her number.
As-
I think you just.
As
do
you
it.
guys, as,
Keep
as,
doing it.
yeah, as council keeps sorting out ordinances,
I mean,
I'd love to keep on to.
why keep kicking the same can?
Yeah.
Just, you applied for it.
You applied for it, you got it. I think.
And that's
I
the
would
end of
Put a PSA out to everybody that we have these signs. The intent behind the signs is this, and we can put something in there too from the fire department.
Oh,
And,
You kind of
this is the
do a
location
trial
we would
thing,
like for them to be.
yeah.
And if you are interested in it, contact whomever.
Mhm.
And start it that
And
way.
get,
Yep.
I don't know, 5 or 6 businesses.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, you
I'll
get-
go around with you or whatever.
If you
I'll,
get 5 or 6 to go, you'll
Bought
get
in.
a few
Yeah.
more after that.
At the same time, let police, fire, rescue identify problem areas because that's the most important. These people aren't taking care of themselves, really.
Airbnb.
And not the government can take
So,
care
for
of.
example, the one across the street along Birch Street, they have these small, like 410A, B on the smallest part of the door. Like the small, like, those like basically those small square,
Yeah, Ace Hardware.
yeah, it's hardware ones.
Yeah.
That needs to be fixed.
And also at whatever entrance to that area, because you need to know whether 410A is behind it or wherever.
Well, I think it would be up to the homeowner or the landlord to make those, and maybe you have to add that on. If you got more than, one dwelling or more than one business, with
So-
2 addresses.
There are a few properties that may require more than one.
Well, yeah, across the street,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Well,
others won't. They just be thankful to have a new number up there.
yeah, I guess so.
I mean, shoot. I took Kimberly's numbers down and took 14 layers of paint off of them.
it's a lot of landlords.
Okay, so next subject is July 4th recap from our side of the spectrum. We had a successful July 4th up here. We had about 32 people show up to cool off and do arts and craft. We're thinking for next year, to summarize this quicker, was that we don't put a misting tent in Dorier Park. And with the extra cooler water, they need to come in and get cooled off. We will send them up here. That's where the most foot traffic is on that afternoons, Dorier Park with music going on all afternoon. Also, we have a.
Can you put that misting tent over a sanded area rather than a grass area?
But it's just a mixed thing.
I know, but it's, if you too much or too many, you're gonna have a trotted down park, all matted down grass.
I just know that they.
Or cover the sidewalk with a
Yeah.
misting tent. So,
Whoever works the easiest, it's up to what the.
But like
there's that area that has sand and stuff or harder surface in the park rather than just grass. Do it there.
yeah,
Just
just
don't
doing
put it
on,
over in the grass.
you know how we kind of do a U around?
Yeah.
Like square out a spot for that?
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Or put it over the sidewalk, you walk through it. All of it.
So it's a fan that, it's like a big fan, you plug into an outlet and just throws cool mist at you,
Yeah.
but it does not get the ground wet.
Yeah, but it's more the people.
Accumulation.
Yeah. We have a ham radio tech now who has joined the CERT team. He's a retired Coast Guard lieutenant for the US Coast Guard Sector of Intelligence, so he offered to help us out with the ham radio. We met with Nelson County Cable, who has the tower images on the images page. We're talking with them about putting up a repeater down here for ham radio in the future, but right now we're thinking about getting GMRS, which is General Mobile Radio Service. It could go about up to 70-mile radius. And we can ping with shuttles, cars, mounted repeater, and also be beneficial for down here. I sent my guy up there to talk with their people. And he said it'd be beneficial for us to have the GMRS first before we get more people involved in ham radio stuff. And right now
Wait a
we're,
minute, take that down to plain language.
so here's a picture, see, you have antenna, the antenna's already up there.
Sure. No, it'd be more beneficial for us to have what down
Ham
there?
radio and a repeater down here for,
I know, but
backup
what?
pumps.
For what?
So we can connect with if anything, like your radio goes down, we have a ham radio. So if that repeater goes down in Buckingham, we will have
Who
a
would
ham.
have a ham?
Huh?
Who are you talking about having a ham radio?
So there's
Who are you talking
so there's a guy who's who retired Coast Guard.
Yeah,
And he,
What do you need the radios for and who's using them and for what?
sorry, so it'd be using them to connect with, like, if there's a disaster and ECC has their ELC, they have somebody with a ham radio. We can communicate with them down here to their ham radio operator.
Well, you don't
You guys
have,
are not gonna be in operation with DCC.
I'm in with the ham radio
Period,
person.
not happening.
I'm saying with the ham radio
Mm.
person, they have a ham radio person there, they need ham people.
but you don't have a network of
Not
ham
yet.
operators.
Yeah, that's the future.
Well,
look at
if you
Pennsylvania.
need it
Yes.
now, you need it later, or
Well.
vice versa. I mean, we can't put all of our eggs in one basket. You know,
Yeah,
And that's on a volunteer basis. You can't count on it.
if Jack Maxwell walks across the street and gets hit by a car and heaven forbid something happens to him bad, who's our backup?
yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a very
We
wide.
offer to not pay for rent for the sub.
I would, you're putting the cart before the horse. Get your ham radios operators, which I know there is a network of them, and they're all over the country.
Yeah,
And I'm a proponent of ham radio. I used to listen to it when I was a kid, you know. And it was just so fascinating
yeah,
that someone could talk to someone,
around the world.
half a world away. And then technology caught up with me, but yeah, and it is a fallback. But it's as much a fallback as solar power is to
Yeah,
fossil fuel. Yeah, it'll work for a while.
and this was recommended by the Almar County ham radio group to have a repeater down here, so I'm just passing the message.
So how interested are they in? Are they interested in
Yeah.
being involved?
That's their message for me to send.
10 of them, or 15, or 20, or
What's that?
how many people?
You have to have 4 for a group. We're at 4 already.
You're at 4, so that's not a big, you know,
That's the max that FCC regulates. You have to have 4 for a club.
okay, but
A
a lot of things have to fail before you go back to ham radio, but
So
still.
Mike Phelps sent me an email, his update from the county is that, that they're supporting both Comcast and Nelson cables at the school apartments with low cost of internet for people who previously were on ACP. The big deal for Scottsville school apartments as residents also soon almost no cost of fiber internet from Nelson Cable. Firefly is working as fast as they can for eight without flash of power. Make ready pole replacement, pole reinforcements. We're preparing to apply for digital quality planning and digital quality development grants to benefit with digital training and potential device distribution. Pruitt was on the news talking about the changes to our wireless policy recently. So that's the only update that I have from him.
So you've got a program that's gonna benefit 33 apartments at
I'm
the
assuming
school.
that's what he sent me.
Well, it's 33 apartments
Yeah,
there.
Albemarle, right?
yeah.
At what cost?
According to this email, I got $0
Zero is good.
for internet usage for those residents.
Probably indexing against if they're on Medicare. or
I have no
something.
idea. I know that they're getting rid of the cost of everything. They're
Sure it is. Is it a program that indexes strictly off of that? And we have some other people that live in other housing that could maybe qualify for
I
it?
have no idea at all. You can reach out to the county.
I'll reach out to the county.
Okay.
That's
Was
the
Mike-
message.
I mean, it shouldn't be just exclusively there, although that's a good
Yeah.
start for sure.
You said it was Mike's, Jack,
What was that?
Michael.
Yeah,
Give me an idea. Fact finding.
yeah. Anything else? Timmy, from you guys?
No, productive meeting.
From 4th of July,
Anything from the fourth?
can I,
Everything went off as,
it went off beautifully.
everything went great. The only issue we had is that someone within the town, we don't, not saying town as in here. Someone was going around town telling people that fireworks had been canceled, that there was pending weather, that there was thunderstorms, there was rain.
Yeah.
And so we spent a majority of the afternoon
Responding to that.
sending messages out that we should have never had to send out. Unless people hear from us, they are not off. We won't say anything unless they're off. So that, we're still trying to track that source down where that came from. But other than that, everything else was good.
I heard nothing but good things. So
Yeah, we got a lot of compliments on fireworks.
congratulations and thank you.
This is not the fire department. I don't know who's, I actually spoke with our chief about it yesterday. Yeah, across the bridge, the road to the campground is state owned. I think it should be offered to handicap parking or something.
Oh,
Possibly.
horseshoe?
Me,
Oh.
I
And
heard,
now,
I heard the residents, they have it
Is
blocked
that
off
that?
because
they don't have it blocked off. Buckingham County said it was private.
Yeah.
I heard that word myself.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
We don't
not-
get
They
into
had,
that
they had
part.
auxiliary police both times.
Yeah.
They
That's-
they cut the road off before 8:45 on the parade time and you had to
Mhm.
talk a little bit. And that night they said that was a private road with a state sign pointing right there. And the state just paved it this year.
They said, I
Horseshoe
remember,
doesn't have the control over that road.
I remember the chief, he did a debrief like a few weeks ago and he said that some of the guys on Buckingham were green, I guess is the way. the county
They're
puts it.
auxiliary
Yeah,
and that's fair. That's fine.
so some of it got
It
passed.
just,
along.
the word has to be passed along.
And so I knew that the camp owner requested them to block it off.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They can request all they want until they talk to the state highway department. They can't do it.
Yeah.
Now, if the campground wanted to be nice about it, they could maybe offer a little parking right there in that triangle of land. I don't know, just a thought.
Push for those again.
I made it. I walked.
It's,
I know.
it's a state road.
It's a state road. It's a
Right
state
down to the
road.
river.
And there, and don't say you can't park on the edge because there's a right of way.
Yeah.
So that's just a
Yeah,
addition.
that's not Timmy.
Oh, come on. You
I'm
got
up-
so many other hats to
I'm up
wear.
on the hill.
I know the right
You
guy.
can't even get the hats all the way around.
That's not Timmy. That's.
Hey, but it's
That's
beautiful.
PD and main and.
And for the fact, I like going up on the bridge, but I can actually see it from my house
I was
just
gonna say,
fine.
You probably got a better.
I can sit on the patio.
Bet you can. They went. up
I had
this
my Airbnb guest and my tenant tell me about it, and show me the pictures.
year. It
So I
come
did get a
down-
compliment from a firefighter in Norfolk. Who says this is one of the best fireworks shows compared to what they have in Hampton.
Many
Roads.
people are always saying that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you know, and I'll say it, I was sitting in a chair on the bridge rather than standing up because I can't stand long.
Huh.
People beside me saw that I was and they backed away from the railing. They were that nice about it. And they were about as red as could be, but they did that.
Well,
It's
Scottsville
always
always.
good. You know, you have the little
meets and exceeds
firecrackers. and-
Expectations.
You have the little
Yeah.
firecrackers
That's a
and
great
people that
thing.
play the little music right there on the whatever, but you know what? It's just.
Is the
it's
bridge a good
4th of
spot?
July.
Is the bridge a good spot?
It is.
Not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
Not as good as it used to be, because you can't see it over the water as well.
2 years.
That was the beautiful part, to see the reflectivity on the water.
2 years ago, I carved a little bit of time and it was nice. They got all friends and partner up
Yeah.
there. She enjoyed it. She didn't believe it.
The
We
best
were-
People
like,
that
trust
saw
me.
it from the boat landing liked it, I mean, all over town, it
It's
was,
getting-
it's not a, there's not a bad seat in the
I
house.
heard that, we had people, send comments that they actually parked up on, Mountain Vista
Yeah,
and were able to watch them from Mountain
Yeah.
Vista.
right.
They must have been on the other end,
That's pretty wild. Yeah,
Cause I live right behind you guys, and I
They
could,
had to be
I could hear them, but I couldn't see them, but,
yeah, all the way up by Sand Spangler's.
yeah, that's a
You
good
can
place
see
to
'em all.
watch. Oh, Mike Callahan's got the best spot in the world.
Is like tower, is silo,
Oh, just anywhere on his property,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, fireworks are great. And it's just, it's unbelievable. I mean, even over the years of, it used to, be some pauses and all that. It's hardly any pause. It's like boom, 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 boom,
No,
boom.
it's-
We try to make it a full 32 minutes or 30 minutes and we ended up 32 minutes, 15
Then you had a
seconds.
couple laggards at the end.
There's always a tube that doesn't go.
Didn't
off.
go off it.
Mhm.
That
Well,
we-
Jack, you wanna adjourn this thing? I think we covered it all, didn't we,
Yeah.
buddy?
We're just talking about 4th of July.
Yeah, I gotta
all
get up
good.
and walk a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks for everybody coming out today, by the way.
Thanks,
The only-
guys.
The only reason it happens is because of the people in the town that donate. There's a lot of people that donate and pay for that. So that
Can
show
you-
is completely paid for out of donation.
I understand. Can you give me an updated number of what it costs nowadays?
We're right at 12,000.
12.
I was getting ready to say 15.
It would probably be closer to 15